Richard Strom, Unleashing Your Inner Savage, from Arctic Ranger to Savage Army Founder, the power of nature, fitness, passion, and personal growth. Founder of the Savage Army, Richard Strom, originally from Sweden, his mission: we help committed souls align their mind and machine with the savage that already exists within. Richard challenges the negative connotations of the word savage and redefines it as someone who pursues their beliefs with conviction. He advocates for living purposefully, focusing on the present, and setting realistic goals. Our conversation touched on the transformative power of nature, the holistic approach to fitness beyond aesthetics, and finding purpose in life's transitions. Richard's insights offer a thought-provoking perspective on personal growth and authenticity. His story is a testament to perseverance and the power of saying yes. He reminded us that even when we doubt our worth or wonder if our voices matter, the answer is a resounding yes. We all have value to share. His commitment to contributing to our community, regardless of follower counts or social media clout, is both humbling and inspiring. We delved into the essence of the Savage Army, a global tribe united not by physical prowess, but by the relentless pursuit of personal evolution. Richard's philosophy shatters the conventional definition of a savage, redefining it as someone who fiercely follows their beliefs and adds value to their life. Our conversation took a deep dive into the importance of living purposefully, seizing each day, and the folly of waiting for a new year to make meaningful changes. Richard's approach to life, focusing on the present and maximizing every 24 hours, is a powerful reminder to live intentionally. We also explored the transformative journey of his military career with the Arctic Rangers, the profound impact of nature on our lives, and the limitations of a fitness culture obsessed with aesthetics over functionality. Richard's holistic approach to training, emphasizing performance and mental fortitude, is a breath of fresh air in a world fixated on surface-level appearances. As we wrapped up, Richard left us with a nugget of wisdom on embracing change, finding purpose in the present, and the importance of carrying elements of our past identities into new chapters of our lives. So, if you're ready to challenge your perceptions, ignite your purpose, and join a conversation that transcends the ordinary, tune into this latest episode. Trust me, it's not just another podcast, it's a catalyst for growth. P.S. If you're curious about the tools of transformation Richard swears by, the mace bell, garter, steel club, kettlebell, and savage sandbags, you'll find all the gritty details in our chat and below. Don't miss out. You can find Richard at www.mrmrslove.com, and the link is below, and on Instagram, The Savage Army. Again, the link is below. Thanks for watching. I'm Damien Porter, former New Zealand Special Forces operator, subject matter expert from hownottodie.com.au. And you're listening to my Straight Talk Mind and Muscle podcast, sponsored by these guys, mystate.com, the ultimate daily formula for optimum hormone health, stress management, energy, and performance. 100% natural and clinically proven ingredients, it provides everything you need to raise your game in a convenient, gut-friendly capsule. Links for my former shows are in the show notes below. Thanks for watching. Welcome to the Straight Talk Mind and Muscle podcast, and welcome to my guest, Richard Strom, all the way from the other side of the world. It's going to be an amazing way to finish the year off. Thank you so much for jumping on.
Oh, I am nothing but humbled and honored. And to start off this great podcast, I want to share something very important. And that is, when you first asked if I wanted to be part of the podcast, my immediate feeling is like, who am I to share anything? Who am I to have anything to say or guide your audience in any shape or form? Because I remember having a lower amount of followers on social media, I would say 5-6 years ago. I tried to reach out to people that I admired who have podcasts. And I said, hey, you know what? I have a story to share. I have things that I can definitely see can be of a lot of value for your audience. And out of 100 people that I reached out to, absolutely zero came back with, an invitation. So going forward, I made a promise that once I establish the Savage Army on a more global scale, anyone who asks me if I would like to be part of their podcast, I'm going to say immediately yes. Okay? So I'm going to suppress that little itty bitty motherfucker within me who thinks that, hey, you know what? You don't have anything to share. Okay? And I hope I can contribute with as much value to your audience as I possibly can. That was a little start of today's episode.
Oh, what a great way to sort of frame things, Richard. And thank you so much. Look, communication's key, isn't it? And I'm stunned that, a former operator, and I'm just a fireman, I've got a show that reaches a few people. I'm stunned that I'm on this side of the microphone, but it's the internet, and we get to actually share, stories from around the world of different people. And yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I interviewed Tony Blair, I called him the grandfather of self-defense. He's really brought self-defense into the 2020s world. And he was the same. He said, look, it's how you ask someone to come on the show. I've asked people too, and they say, how many followers you got? You need to have like 500,000 followers before I'll come on the show. Some big professor, but really, I think it's communication. And that's what I bring to the listeners and the viewers. Communicate with great people and share their story. And I always, at the end of the show, say, if one thing we've said has helped one person, we've done our job, haven't we?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
So Savage Army, I mean, what a background. I'm really excited to find out more about this. Tell us
Yeah.
what the Savage Army is.
That is a very good question. I want to say first and foremost that, it's all about, in today's society, we have the freedom to identify as whatever we want, right? And what's really true to me is to do shit that is really in alignment with something that is greater than my own perceived ability to perform a physical or hard mental or hard spiritual task at hand. I believe that being a savage, to some people, a savage is the last thing that we should be. We should not identify as savages, because if you look up in the definition of what a savage is, it's the bottom level of society. I've had people that are considered themselves as gurus or identifying themselves as gurus, as shamans, actually ask me, like, why would you say the savage army? Like, we should not aim for savages. We should aim for enlightenment. And I'm saying back to them, like, enlightenment, in my opinion, is to really identify with something that is outside of the norm of our society's blueprint of how happiness, business, lifestyle should look like. A savage, in my opinion, is somebody who is absolutely following through in what he or she believes in, brings value to his or her lifestyle. So the Savage Army is a global community of like-minded individuals. It doesn't mean that we all want to be able to deadlift 500 pounds or be able to have a meditation take place for 1 hour every single morning. No, it's the personal expression of who we want to be that is united in the Savage Army. My personal goals for the short period of timeline that we call life is definitely going to be different from yours, and vice versa. But what unites you and me is our desire to evolve on a daily fucking basis. I think that is the greatest definition of the Savage Army. We want to evolve on a mental, spiritual, and physical level daily.
You have nailed it. Thank you so much. What stuns me about these guests that I have the absolute honor to have on the show, we're going to go through your background. I'll interview a Delta guy, and for the listeners and the viewers, an American Special Forces, the elite. And our role in the Special Forces is the unrelenting pursuit of excellence. But a friend of mine, Pat McNamara, he puts it in a great way. you're training today so that you can kick your own ass tomorrow if you are cloned. And you've said the same thing. You said evolve on a daily basis. That's the whole point, trying to be better each day than you were the day before. And you said it, what I loved about what you said was both physical, mental, spiritual, and why not? That encompasses so much. And that is purpose. You've literally almost nailed purpose for humans. That's brilliant.
Well, that I feel like that was very, very great of a response by you. I can't really take that to heart, but I absolutely understand what you're saying, and I think that that purpose, I think that that purpose is an absolute minimum type of existence that we should aim for. You know, like my ancestors are no longer here. They wish they could see the sun that I get to see right now. Being purposeful and being in tune with these next 24 hours that we have been blessed with, like I say oftentimes, they will never happen, and they have never happened, and they will never happen again. If we can dial in our existence to that fact, I think that we eliminate many external factors and really emphasize the fact that we are fucking breathing, because both you and I, who are, you know, at least for myself, I'm over 35. I'm not going to say anything about your age. Um, we have come to lose people that we truly care about. You know, we realize that life is not as long as it may have seemed when we were 20, when we were up to 30, for example. It just felt as if like there's so much, I can make so much time. I can just put things a little bit on the back end and kind of like chill out a little bit and procrastinate and really not follow through. And then all of a sudden, I just hit 40 and I'm like, you know what? Wow, I'm really going to dial into these next 24 hours and maximize on those. Because if you have that mindset, all of these like New Year's resolutions, okay, that people so frenetically spend so much time trying to figure out and map out. And both you and I know that setting goals is absolutely essential to have a trajectory for your fucking purpose. Absolutely. But the whole idea of giving yourself 365 days to accomplish small goals, big goals, massive goals, both you and I know that's setting yourself up for fucking failure, because June comes and you have forgot about 90% of those goals that it meant so much to you. But instead, if you dial into these 24 hours, like I woke up this morning at 4:30, that's not normal. I'm not going to say that I'm one of those people who are, you know, you have to wake up at 2:30, barely sleep anything if you want to be successful. I don't believe in that. It actually drives me absolutely fucking nauseous, to say the least. Unless you're getting 6 to 8 hours of sleep, you're all going to be lethargic as fuck, trying to pursue your daily life, right? So back to the story about being as focused on today is going to eliminate you having to have to think that you need 12 new months to be able to accomplish shit here in life.
Yeah, exactly. You need to make that decision, don't you?
You need to make the decision and push all of those resolutions aside. It doesn't really fucking matter. There's going to be a switch from the 31st of December to the 1st of January. It's just one new day. Okay, just like today until tomorrow, what have we done today to set the trajectory for a more savage self tomorrow?
That's it. Your purpose and passion that really sort of sums it up. But your passion comes through so much. And I really was wanting to find out what was the Savage Army about? What does Richard bring? And you've nailed it, because so many of the shows with veterans, and I'm not a veteran show, it's literally I'll interview professors down to doctors, down to operators and so on. But it's about purpose. And many people lose their purpose. Um, I I remember I interviewed an All Black rugby player, and he's retired now. And immediately, like the next day, he's almost lost his purpose. So you gotta make sure you have one. And I think that's maybe where it's resonating, Richard, with so many people, because you're showing them purpose, but you're so passionate about it. You're dragging them along. Is how did the Savage Army start?
That's a very good question. How did it start? So to give a little bit of a background and share a little bit about my story from Sweden up until where we are today, kind of. I grew up in Sweden, and for those who are not really sure where it is in the northern part of Europe. It's within the Scandinavia. It's a fantastic country in so many ways. If you have a job in Sweden, you are set. You have 0% to 2% nowadays mortgage interest rates.
Wow.
If you have a job, you have 4 weeks of paid vacation every single year. Any type of job that you have, it is by law. If you have a kid, perfect. The mother can be home with 80% of her salary for 12 months, and the dad can be home for 8 months for maternity leave with 80% of his salary. It is a fantastic society. Why do you want to leave this perfectly set up nation to do something different? In my opinion, it keeps people in the very middle lane. If you stand out to either side, you're looked upon as somebody who is not really sure about his life. He is not really following the trajectory.
I just lost your sound there, Richard. We'll just get it back.
To maximize on my daily life. What can I accomplish today, right now, at this motherfucking moment? And to be in that society did not fit me well at all. So I decided to join the Arctic Ranger Division, which is in the very northern part of Sweden, above the Arctic Circle. So we're talking pitch black for 2-3 months out of the year. We're talking extremely bright days for 2 to 3 months out of the year. And in between that shift in nature, you are basically forged into becoming an Arctic Ranger. That led me to seeking out a military mission, and thankfully there was an opportunity to be in a military mission in Afghanistan, which I did 2 tours as an Arctic Ranger. Okay. The point of all of this is that I kept on seeking more. I kept on seeking myself away from what I felt was not serving me as great as I may have thought it was. As a 22-year-old kid being pushed the agenda that you are the spearhead of the nation. You are part of something bigger. This is for democracy. This is for the world peace and that kind of stuff. Do I believe in that today? No, not to the fullest ability that I did at the time. So coming to United States, after meeting my wife here, she was the sole purpose of me exploring to leave Sweden and move to United States, was because she really brought the awareness that there's something more to life than following orders, being physically so fucking capable that you're not questioning how you feel. You just push through, you follow orders, and that is it. No, she showed me that there's layers to our existence. There's something called manifestation. There's something more about being a savage or a warrior that means your entire existence can be shaped and molded to something that is even more purposeful than only pointing your rifle towards somebody and ending that person's life. So to make this long story shorter, I feel the savage is somebody who exists within each and every one of us. It is something that already exists. The savage army, like we spoke about in the beginning, is a community of like-minded individuals who are trying to align daily with this savage. I am not creating a savage out of you or anyone. I'm just trying to align myself daily. And some people are inspired by it. When I swing a steel club and slam a savage sandbag into the ground, and others feel as if this is complete waste of time. Perfect. I'm not here to entertain everyone. I'm here for a selected few. If we vibe, we vibe. If not, I have 5 people who loves me, and those are all the fucking people I care about. One of them being our dog, mom and dad, my wife, and my side chick. There's no side chick. That was
Mate, that's brilliant, and you've really brought the crux of the word savage, and it's just a oh, is that a noun? I'm not so good at the English part of it. But really, when you're talking about the guru, everybody has a savage inside of them. And I think it's a responsibility of a man or woman to have that savage, that warrior, that protector, that bodyguard, whatever it is, to come out at the right time and perform. If you don't, you're, as you said, not aligned with yourself. So there's going to be a lot of conflict there. At worst, you're going to be a detriment to society. It's important, and I guess that's part of what I do with How Not to Die as well. It's not, as you
Yeah.
said, pointing a gun at someone all the time. It's not always about chopping. I'd rather the mum move the pram, turn it into a shop, and avoid all the stuff than having to go all savage. But you've got to have it and not need it than need it and
Yes.
not have it. Does that is
Yes.
that how we're sort of vibing here?
100%. 100%. I'm not. I don't feel as if a savage should be somebody who is like judgmental towards others and talking down to others.
Mm.
Absolutely not. I call people little pumpkins. Okay, and 90% of the people who hear me say my little pumpkin, they are perhaps not triggered by it. But then you have a lot of people who are triggered by somebody who they do not know on internet. I am calling somebody who I do not know on the other end, receiving my little pumpkin and actually being triggered and hurt by it, and report my ass on different kinds of social media platforms. So the point of the story is like, come on, we need to really tune into the savage that exists within us for our own well-being, not to compare how much more of a savage I am compared to you, but absolutely, this is definitely part of our essential existence, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. It's again, it amazes me, all these amazing guests, the more the male high performers, none of us beat the chests. And we recognize each other as well, from through the screen here to the other side of the world. And it's not a dick measuring competition. All we do, I've found in our later years, and Dan Cooper, Australian SAS, was exactly about that. In the later years, all we want to do is share the knowledge with others rather than hold it in and be egotistical about it.
Yes, 100%.
So that's really interesting. I had no idea that you're in the military. I'm going to come back to the Arctic Ranger because that sounds intriguing for anybody. I mean, who lives in the dark for 3 months? But you did your military time. You did your tours, and then you came to America. Um, is that what you're doing business wise? What are you doing now for a career? Is Savage Army your career path?
That's a good question. I literally don't feel like I have a title. Some call me a entrepreneur, some call me, I don't know, an influencer of some sort. I think that word is very diluted. I think if anyone can have an influence over somebody else, that says more about the person receiving that information than it does about somebody calling themselves an influencer.
Mm.
I think that I utilize social media in a way that serves me. My message that I have to people can be communicated in a good way. We offer training programs that I believe can absolutely offer a lot of value. Is it the type of training program that unless you have it, you will not get into the peak shape of your life? Absolutely not. Our savage sandbags that we offer, is that something you absolutely must have? Otherwise, you won't get the strongest you can ever be. No, absolutely fucking not. But the tools that we offer, I stand for 100%. The services that I believe we offer offers a lot of fucking value as well. So what do? I'm I wake up again, maximizing, shooting content, and people vibe with the message.
You
And
mess.
I am not, this is a very important, sorry to interrupt you.
Yes.
This is a very important thing for me and has always been. Actually, I lie. It has not always been. It has formed as I have matured into realizing I don't need a title to define me. I feel like if I have a title that defines me, that also limits who I want to be. I'm the
Mm.
first one to tell you I'm absolutely fucking nobody. And some people are then saying, "No, but you are to me. You're a great individual." And no, don't say that. But they don't understand that by saying that I'm absolutely fucking nobody, within that lies so much freedom. I have the freedom to be whatever I want, do whatever I like. We just started a straight racer and safety racer shaving brand. Okay, can I really do that if I'm considering myself being a title or
Yeah.
type? No, there's freedom within not having or looking for a title to define who you are.
Wow. It's pretty much the same as where you started, talking about the society of Sweden as well. Um, it was funny when you started talking about the society of Sweden. Like I said, I didn't know you're military. I was thinking the way your mindset is the same as all special forces guys. We're in the regular military, but it's just not enough. It's not pressing the buttons and not turning the dials. It's not, as you said, our authentic sort of self there. So we tend to branch out and do things in a different way, and we achieve great things in that role. That's really interesting that you came from that societal norms, and then have gone to create your own freedom and your own purpose. I'm really stunned.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that.
Now, let's touch on the Arctic Ranger stuff. That sounds just wild, because obviously hardly anybody in the world gets to experience that length of time in the dark and in the sun. What was that like? How did you come to grips with that?
So that was, as I said before, I am 40 years of age as of now. So depending on what political party are in charge in Sweden, some have it as it's mandatory to do your military training.
Mm,
Other parties say that you do not have to, and then it shifts throughout the years, right? But at the time that I was turning 18, it was mandatory to do some form of military training.
hmm.
Up until then, I had been a very active individual. I was professionally playing basketball. As a kid without the cellular device that we have access to right now, like as well, like you spend a lot of time outdoors, you spend time with your friends, and you're never home. That's the last place that you want to be at, right?
Yep. Yep.
So by the time I turned 18, it was the opportunity to do a military career. And I was like, absolutely. I am going to pursue the hardest and toughest that I can possibly think of because I know life. I am turning 18 and I have pushed myself, right? I know it all. I even had been abroad once. So I definitely had traveled as well. So what happens is you meet up with 500 other kids that all thinks the same thing, turning 18 at the train station in Stockholm, and you have a 18-hour train ride from Stockholm to the very northern part of Sweden.
Wow.
So I was scared like I never been scared before. The unknown, the leaving your mom and dad behind and the whole society, everything that you know and have become familiar with and build some form of comfort zone around. You're about to leave that with 500 other people and travel and take that train up to the northern part of Sweden.
Yep.
I was scared to, my underwear definitely changed colors. I don't even know if that's an English expression, but you understand what I mean.
Oh yeah, and people don't realize, that's what it's like joining the military. You're going from one norm, one society, one bunch of the public to this is a whole new world. You don't know anything about it, and you are a little speck.
Yes, 100%.
So you joined the military. What was it like for the Arctic Rangers? Is that a different part of it? I don't know how the makeup of that is.
Yeah, so absolutely. So as you know, any form of ranger division, the purpose of a ranger is to operate behind enemy lines, go unnoticed and do a lot of damage and get unnoticed out of there. That's the whole concept, I guess, for the global ranger divisions and the ranger career. Our focus was to do everything in an Arctic environment.
Wow.
So we're talking extremely cold temperatures and just horrible conditions. Like I did not for a decade want to see any form of snow. I hated snow. I think all of that time up there really forged you to appreciate that. It comes down to appreciating your mother's and dad's cooking, the comfort of your own bed. Like all of that really is a perfect thing to do as a young adult, a young savage at that age.
Yeah.
So the very first thing that happens is you join in May. So in May is when the sun is up 24 hours. It never sets. It is complete bright nights and bright days. And you start a selection process. So you're not guaranteed just because you have officially been able to participate in the training that you're going to succeed. No, you can be kicked out from day fucking one. And many people were. Just arriving on these grounds up in the northern part of Sweden, it is not where the drill sergeants are hard and they're screaming and it's like, you know, like people are getting hurt because why are they screaming at me? I don't want to be here. No, the environment does all of this for you.
Yeah.
So just being there, it is mosquito heaven from May until September. Anywhere you go, you are surrounded and inhaling mosquitoes, period. Okay? So that alone drives people crazy. But the first 3 months, from May, June, and July, is all about physical preparation. They are testing you capacity-wise. Can your joints handle external load? Can you walk from A to B? Okay, yes, you can. Okay, can you walk from A to C without any sleep? Okay, you did, good. Can you do so also with the backpack? Can you? And there's like numerous tests on a daily basis, and it just keeps on going. And all of a sudden, you have selection of 15% no longer being there. Okay, great. As a young adult, you start to like build friendship with people that you never met and be like, okay, man, what do you know what's going to happen next? No, I have no idea. Oh, no, me neither. Like, oh my God, this is so scary. Right? Like looking back at it, like you're the most controlled environment ever. Like I should have enjoyed the unknown so much more at the time, but it was almost like you were just building and building. You were eating and you were building confidence. You were building a physical capacity, but you were also starting to realize, like from a mental standpoint, I had never really tested myself. And here I am, no sleep. I can still perform shit. This is incredible. And then all of a sudden, no food, only eat what you can find in the forest. Holy shit. And all of a sudden you realize that you're capable of so much more. You're starting to have these paradigm shifts.
Yeah.
So that time in my life set the understanding that if you continue to push, you will always have these paradigm shifts where you come to realize like your physical capacity and your mental capacity to perform hard tasks in any given environment is now significantly greater. So if I can push myself to have these paradigm shifts today when I'm 40 on a daily basis, wow. Who am I going to be in 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, when I have been doing these paradigm shift hunting opportunities as often as I am breathing and as I am awake? That set the trajectory then to, okay, can I run a marathon? Can I run an ultra marathon? Can I go outside with my backpack only and spend the whole next 7 days moving, but still living off where I'm carrying with me? Can I today, when I'm not feeling so 100%, can I do 300 burpees? You know, like this, there's so much to understand, and I am nowhere near to fully understand what I'm capable of.
The exposure to that world, and not many people are fortunate enough to be able to get to that start line, fortunate enough to be able to join the military, but the exposure to that world gives us the ability to come back and pass that knowledge on to others that they are
Yes.
capable, which is again circling back to what Savage Army is sort of based on, which is phenomenal. I love that you
100%. And to interject there a little bit as
yeah.
well, I think that the difference, like what you're explaining right now, if you have an opportunity to be exposed to a military lifestyle, compare that to, oh, you know what? I should be doing some fitness. Okay, I'm going to copy and paste my friend who is at the gym and he is doing a bro split and he is focusing his training to look a particular way. I think that you're really doing yourself a injustice
Yep.
injustice if you emphasize your training to look a certain way. I don't believe that you're ever going to be satisfied. And that's what you're seeing in today's society. If you're constantly being bombarded by blueprints of how fitness looks like, how a masculine man looks like, okay? And you have no understanding and concept of that training is solely like to look a certain way, to build a symmetrical physique with a low body fat percentage. What do that do to you both mentally and physically in the long run? No, but trend and performance enhancing drugs, it's not that dangerous as everybody is trying to put it. It's absolutely part of the equation of making the whole focus of yours be completely down the fucking drain. Both you and I know that we have friends who have been completely obsessed with bodybuilding, for example, to look a certain way. They're not happy. I don't know one happy bodybuilder who is like, you know what? I made a fortune. I was doing something that I was passionate about. And look at my physique. I feel great. And I can rely on my mind and machine to take me and have me perform in any given environment. No, they're not. If they're still doing this, they're still so obsessing about a little bit extra body fat percentage that have come on. And in reality, a bodybuilder is not a fit individual. Take a bodybuilder who is performing on stage on that specific competition day. He is lethargic as fuck. He can barely stand up and flex. He has dropped to 6% body fat. If you asked him to run 1 mile right now because his life depended on it or his family unit is being attacked, he cannot do so. So the point that many people, many kids, young savages bombarded by social media blueprints should do instead is being exposed to combat sports, military type of training. Look upon your body as one unit. Work your body as one machine. Rely yourself and build your confidence and self-worth on your ability to perform rather than how you fucking look.
Well, this
It's
is
the most
interesting.
stupidest shit ever.
This is interesting, Richard. I'll ask you a question because I didn't realize I was giving you a rope to hang yourself with here, and it's going to be fun. Have you competed in bodybuilding before?
Me?
Yep.
No, I have not.
So I'm New Zealand, an international bodybuilding champion.
Okay.
But I did that. I did it when I was young, and then I joined the military. And there's a story that some people have heard when I've been lucky enough to be a guest. We were in the Special Forces in New Zealand, and there was a bodybuilding competition coming up, and it was in a city that we were going past to do a training exercise. And it was how many weeks was away? It was 3 weeks away. And I thought to myself, and I was getting, we were very fit, you know, but the listeners and the viewers, we're very, very fit in the Special Forces. And in New Zealand, I'd say we're Olympic fit. And we're getting quite light. I was down to 74 kilos. And I thought, oh, I wonder if I could go to under 70 and win the competition again. So under 70, no steroids, you know, you're a little human. And yes, when I was young on stage, I was lethargic. I was my worst ever. So this is now from the horse's mouth. My worst ever performing. Terrible. Looked great and absolutely body dysmorphic, eating disordered, and unhappy and unable to perform. Absolutely. Again, in the unit, I was down to 74 kilos. There's a competition 3 weeks away, and I thought, I wonder if I could go do that. Saw the sergeant major, and got a stop over to that place. I ate in the mess, so I ate at the military base, again for the listeners. I started lifting weights because we weren't lifting weights for bodybuilding, we were lifting weights for the strength. And I just ran to and from the base from my home in the housing area, and I won the competition. That was a qualifier, and then 2 weeks later, I won the Mr. New Zealand. And I walked into that competition drinking a Starbucks double chocolate chip Frappuccino. And we had just done unit PT on the Thursday, wrestling and smashing each other, full, so unit PT, it's our squadron PT, our physical training. And I just came out of the kill house on the Thursday. We're blowing stuff up and full explosive entry and all these shootings. So absolutely able to perform. And when I was on that stage, I was thinking there's at least 3 or 4 other guys in the unit that were a bit more muscly that could do this as well. I was so thankful that I had evolved from a 20-year-old, not insecure, but very, what do you call when the world revolves around you? Very egotistical sort of man.
Yeah, a little narcissistic.
Narcissistic, yes, thank you. Into an actual performing human, and as a side effect only, had the body that could win that competition. So
yeah,
from both sides, I 100% agree with you, and I love that going through that real savage type functional training, you can actually get a body that looks pretty good, but you're able to perform and you're happy.
yes. And I'm very happy that you have that experience of the two worlds and how easy it is to step into that body, what do you call it? Body
Dysmorphia.
Dysmorphia. How easy that is, and how I do believe that there's so many people that are considering themselves being this bodybuilding influencer on social media. Like, it must be so challenging because all of a sudden you're building an audience, and we're talking some of these individuals, they have millions of followers, they have brand deals, they have so much things, and they know that they have to continue doing this using performance enhancing drugs to maintain this. So all of a sudden you're having this like dysmorphia, you're having some form perhaps of eating disorders, some may and some may not have it. But like you're saying, the side effect of focusing on absolute savage type of training, building your self-worth and confidence, and also looking good to the extent that you can actually win Mr. New Zealand, I mean, that speaks volume. You know what I mean?
In my opinion, that's how it should be. You know, I do like to look good. It's not that I don't like to look good, but
right.
It's a side effect of all those other awesome things, rather than that lone goal that doesn't serve anybody. I actually had, because I work on sleep, stress, and nutrition coaching in the past for a long time. I actually had one of those influencers come to me. He would charge $5,000 for a training program. He told me, and I don't know his name, so it's fine, but he was bulimic when he would have to get in shape for these photo shoots. What a horrible place to be.
Absolutely. You know, and that just goes to show how short that type of career, how short that type of lifestyle can actually be. And I feel sorry for anyone who have kind of like baked themselves into that corner. But also, I do my very best to highlight a alternative, and the people that I look up to, I'm trying to showcase, hey, look at this gentleman, look at David Goggins, look at Cameron Haynes, Look at How Not to Die. Like there are so many great individuals like yourself out there who are showcasing a different lifestyle. Like, how can you be a protector of and provider for your family unit if that's not purpose? Like, you have to kind of step back and realize, like, this is actually my purpose. And if I'm a dad, fantastic. That is my sole responsibility to maximize and lead my bloodline forward. Like, there is so much purpose within so many things within our lifestyle, and we can train to be a better version of ourselves there, compared to, hey, you know what, my wife, I'm going to spend 3 hours inside of the gym to increase my symmetrical capacity so I can perform. You know what I mean?
You put it in such a great way.
Like it won't be met with same enthusiasm perhaps as something else. You know what I mean? For within that family unit.
You're so right. I really enjoy talking to you Scandinavians,
Thank you. Same here.
and I sort of connected through Ken Storns, my first Viking on the show, and I'm suggesting that you're literally the second Viking I've had on the show. What has that sort of, and people don't realize Viking isn't a race. It's actually, can I get you to explain to the audience what a Viking is, a Viking lifestyle?
Absolutely. So personally, I don't identify as a Viking. Like I'm not saying, I am a Viking and this and this. There was a video that I did not too long ago where I said that I'm not calling myself a Viking, but I have clearly established dominance in 2 Catholic villages on 2 continents in 2 countries. And I meant that because we have recently bought a house in a small village in Italy, Catholic village. And I'm swinging steel and slamming sandbags, so I have established dominance, but that's just from a jokeful matter. And the same thing in Costa Rica. So another continent, another country, another Catholic village, and here I am doing the same shit there. So that's kind of like what Vikings did, right? They were explorers first. They were explorers of the world. They were amongst the first to explore the parts of outside of Scandinavia, but being pagans and having a focus on, the Norse mythology and something like that. I don't practice Norse mythology. I'm not into Odin, Thor, and that. But what I am, and this has also been, really profound in my lifestyle and the way I live, is to seek out nature. I believe, just like the pagans believe, like there's so much power within nature, because nature always gives. It always gives. If you step into a river right now and you're submerging yourself in ice cold water and you're breathing fresh air and you're looking at a wild boar that is running across the little trail, like you are like deep and submerged in power. Nature is power. Compare that to living in a city. Cities always take your energy. You step outside, there's a homeless guy that wants to have your money. You have to pay a fine because you parked your fucking car in a wrong spot. You have to go to get gas and put gas into your car because you didn't yesterday because you were so tired from driving through traffic for 45 minutes after going to Whole Foods and paying way too much money for healthy food. Like it's the city environment is created to have convenience for you, right? But talking about purpose, again, I believe that the further we go from nature and the more convenience that we are being offered from our phone. Oh, I'm feeling a little bit hungry. I'm going to jump on Uber Eats and I'm going to order this and this and this and this, and all of a sudden it's going to arrive right there. Like you are so disconnected from who the fuck we actually are. So the fact that my wife and I have guided ourselves to live in nature brings us back to, okay, neighbors in this village, they are milking the cow in the morning. Great, they're riding a horse to get out further out into the mountains to locate more firewood for the village. They are building their own house with their own hands. My hands are so fucking small compared to these people that lives in the village, because we're used to working with my fucking thumb like this on my phone. and they're literally building a house for their family unit. They're milking the cow. They're creating cheese. They are switching out the fucking engine in their car from 1967. The purpose, they don't question their purpose. They don't question whether or not they are a man or if they should identify as somewhere in between. I think that the more we step away from nature, the more we step into a society that we do not create. As much as I believe that I'm in control of my daily life, if I am in control, yes, to one extent, but I'm also pushed an agenda. I am pushed blueprints. I'm pushed beautiful how a wife should look like, how a man should look like, how a successful entrepreneur should look like, constantly. Here in Miami, perfect example of this.
Yeah.
You have everyone driving a Land Rover that costs 180 to 225,000 United States dollars. On top of that, you have Lamborghinis. You have Bentleys. This whole illusion is for you to consume, that you never have enough. You have not enough unless you have the latest of the latest and the hottest chick, and you eat at the best restaurants. All of this was starting to infiltrate my brain. When I realized that I was so happy at first that we had paid off our car, but it was no longer a modern car compared to what's currently out there, and that we should jump into a new finance agreement and buy a new or get a new car. My wife was like, Richard, you have paid off your car. You have 0 car payments. This is the wealth that we're looking at. 0 car payments, but you can drive from A to B in a car that is working.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, when we made the switch and we decided to leave Miami to explore life in Costa Rica, I just have boosted my ability to inspire myself and others on a daily basis because I'm submerged in fucking power.
You said about nature, and one of my shows with a New Zealand SAS operator was titled Nature Doesn't Lie.
True.
And
Wow.
so you said nature has power, nature gives. You're so correct. And nature doesn't lie, because when you're out there, the cold, the wind will make, it doesn't lie. You've got to do things, otherwise you're going to die, or you'll be very uncomfortable and you'll be scared. It doesn't lie. And it does bring you back to that reality. It's no wonder living in Miami and having the influence of those things, it would influence the way you think. And of course it would, but the other side of it, the pro, is nature. And it doesn't have to be living in a shack, but being exposed to nature, it doesn't lie, and it will allow you to see what's important and allow you to not be infiltrated by that as well.
Yes, I really vibe with that. Nature does not lie. I really vibe with that. It is true to the most authentic. So like you say, you will also feel that you can bring more truth to the world as well in your message on your platform. You know what I mean? The more authenticity that nature offers you, you will then be formed and start to think that way as well, compared to, again, living in a city disconnected. You can make up exactly who you want to be that day.
Exactly. You put some amazing content out in nature.
Thank you.
Yeah, which is brilliant. So I mean, there's a whole bunch of the network here that hasn't seen you that surely will be seeing the trailers and checking you out. You're using the the mace, and you got all this different equipment, and you're out there. I'll try and form a correct question. What are they going to see when they go to your channel? What are they going to be looking at?
Oh, that's a good question. Please don't have them come to the site, okay? Don't have them check out the account, okay? They're gonna see a naked bald guy screaming in a weird Swedish English accent. You know what I mean? Please don't have them come. No, but in all seriousness, the type of training that I specialize in more or less 90% of it all has to do using the Savage 5 tools, is what we call it.
Great.
And those are the mace bell, which is not something new. It's a tool that originates from India and Persia called Gada, the steel club, the kettlebell, our Savage sandbags, and a set of Savage rings, or regular gymnastic rings, if you like. That is what I base 90% of all of my training on. Now, why? Well, it actually stems back to early in the frame of my life, the time frame of my life when I met my wife here in Miami. And I wanted to be a personal trainer. I wanted to offer my training services to a very selected and few clientele base. I couldn't join a gym and become a personal trainer because I didn't have any fucking residency permit. I was not allowed to work here in this country.
Yeah.
Right? So I can only do shit outside. And that suits me perfectly because I was an Arctic Ranger. I learned how to operate behind enemy lines in a very Arctic environment. And here we're talking about perfect weather every single day of the year. Yeah, it gets a little hot. So fucking what? Wake up earlier. So I started to do all of my training using kettlebells, using sandbags, using a very few amount of tools to get great amount of results. So the clients that I had at that time, I had them for decades. I was working as a personal trainer for 17 years. And they were swinging steels, slamming bags, swimming in the ocean, sprinting in the sand. Like there's so much to Miami that people do not take advantage of. Like to be able to do a 300 repetition training session when it's 90 degrees and it's 85% humidity, it changes who the fuck you are.
Yeah.
Mentally and physically, you are going to have a paradigm shift. So those 5 tools that you see me work with and that high volume training session that I love doing all comes from wanting to have that paradigm shift that we spoke about early on. I believe that if you have 300 repetitions that you're about to perform that hour using 1 tool, 2 tools, maybe even 3 tools, it's going to have you come out as a different person because you are going to question whether or not you're going to be able to accomplish 100 over the shoulder with 150 pounds, which is 74 kilos, sandbag, throwing that over your shoulder. Halfway in, you're going to start questioning yourself. Holy shit, I have 250 more repetitions to do. I am already tired. Then you're done with the sandbags and you're like, I cannot swing this kettlebell. And then you start to negotiate with yourself. Well, you know what? I have been active now for 45 minutes. Maybe I should go home and call it a day. That's the first objection. And then all of a sudden, there's going to be 2, 3 more times where you're going to question whether or not you're going to be able to accomplish this or not. By the end of those 300 repetitions, when you have accomplished it, you look back and you're like, I'm not the same person now as I was when I first stepped in. So for me, that is why I love high volume training and we use only 5 tools. Because in reality, you know, I know, many other people know that we do not need an entire gym to get in good fighting capacity.
I've just realized what I enjoy the most about Scandinavians, and it's not so much, and even the whole Europeans, the Russians and so on. You're so honest, reflective, and you tend to assess things, and actually celebrate as well. You literally talked about celebrating where you are now as to what you were 45 minutes ago. That's a big thing. Most people will just throw that aside. Yep, big tick, did the workout, move on to the next thing, move on to the coffee, move on to whatever you're going to do in your day. But you made a real point of, hey, I'm better than I was 45 minutes ago. I mean, literally a different person. And I think we have missed that. That's literally a massive timestamp for this show, and one of the biggest sound bites I've seen. That is a huge thing to reflect on and actually honor in yourself that you did that.
Yes. Yes, because then all of a sudden, anytime you have an opportunity to seek out this paradigm shift, it's not only for a physical, getting a good pump type of focus. If the purpose is to wake up and really maximize on these next 24 hours that have never happened and will never happen again, I believe that you do so in a high volume training session, because physically you accomplish what you set out to do on paper. You did the 300 repetitions. Great, massive accomplishment. Mentally, you overcome so many areas where you were like, I could have given up there, and you can actually pinpoint back when you decided to just take 5 more minutes instead of giving up and try 5, 10 more repetitions, and you kept on going. Holy shit, so many wins within that. Thirdly, the spiritual aspect. You grow when you physically and mentally overcome hard shit. So in one session, you have the physical, mental, and spiritual aspect already covered if you push yourself. Now, do you have to go balls to the wall every time? No, you don't. Sometimes you choosing to push yourself to 300 repetitions instead of not doing anything that day, that is a remarkable win. So from that standpoint, yes, you made a decision. You made yourself better. You're not the same that you would have been if you did not commit to doing something.
Now, along with those 5 sort of key exercises, pieces of equipment, you have a whole bunch of training programs to go with that as well?
Yes. So I realized the first time I came about using a mace spell, for example, I mimicked somebody off of Instagram. I think that the key thing here is that if you really appreciate doing deadlift, squats, and bench press, it's not about either or. I'm not saying that what I'm doing is better than what you're doing. Absolutely not. Your expression of your savage self can come out when you're lifting 600 pounds in a deadlift. Fucking great. But if you have an open mind and an open heart to learn new things, more contrast is then added to your life. And the more contrast you have, in my opinion, the more life you have. So if you're seeing me swing a metal stick around my body, it may look super funny to you and completely useless and like bullshit. Please try it. Be open-minded to try it. What happens when you engage your transverse plane? I didn't do a lot of transverse plane action or training in the past. I was very linear in my training approach. But then I felt how it feels like to swing a mace bell. That helps with my posture, extending and stretching out my lats and triceps and pecs in ways that I've never tried before. Shifting my posture. Like all of these things comes from you being open-minded and open-hearted.
Yeah.
So the reason why I created the mace bell training program, the steel club training program, and the sandbag training program is for you who are open-minded and open-hearted. I created videos in every one of those training programs so that you can safely and efficiently work with a new tool. Like to swing something around your body like this is very different.
Yeah.
And your body kind of like, you have to understand how to gauge and what part of your body that is actually is going to rotate. It's not your arms. You can't stiff it through like if you do different types of exercise inside of the gym, for example. So that's why we created those training programs. And they're all high volume. Again, high volume.
Awesome. Awesome. I've summed up Savage Army and what you do, and we touched on some of your background. But given that, I'd like to ask one last question to sum up. And it's about identity. So many people, they go from one life, so military life, sporting life, and high achieving business, and they go into another life. They have a problem transitioning. I didn't realize what that word truly meant, but so many of them lose their identity. the reason I've formed this question is because around about 15 minutes ago, you said I am an Arctic Ranger. So there's a bit there that, and same, I'm a Special Forces soldier. I don't wear the body armor, I don't have an M4, but that's still inside me. What secret, what tip, what advice do you have for someone that is going to change their identity or is in a new place now that is having trouble with their old identity and having real mental health issues with that transition?
That's a very good question. I think that from a profession standpoint, if you're switching from a career of being a soldier to now doing accounting, for example, if we take those two extremes, right? From a profession standpoint, I can't really give any recommendation because I don't know. But what I can say is that the aspects of what you truly identified as and what you really appreciated about being a special forces soldier, that could have been, for example, the physical training, the camaraderie, the excitement, the adrenaline, the pure chaos that you sometimes felt and discovered. If those 5 reasons are what really truly identified you as being the soldier, how can you then find that in a different way? The camaraderie, the brotherhood may look a little bit different, but it could be still a CrossFit box, for example, where you identify with other like-minded individuals who like to push themselves physically. Okay? The chaos of the unknown, what could that be? That could be you starting to do skydiving all of a sudden. You know what I mean? Like there's so many different things that you have to identify from what you identified as you being a soldier that can be then used in another field. Now, what I also think is difficult is to talk about the profession aspect. Like obviously, you being at a shooting range one day and then transitioning into a desk full of papers, like that would be really tough. I would not know what to say and how to handle that. But I can clearly say that being an Arctic Ranger in the past, I do exactly those things today. I seek my paradigm shifts. I lead others. I embrace brotherhood. If somebody sends me a DM on Instagram, I'm like, I'm right there with you. We are building a community of like-minded individuals. The chaos is the daily life. Like the days for all of us are changing on a daily basis. 2 years ago, we had COVID. We couldn't fucking travel from A to B. People were masked up, vaccinated in the arm. They were angry at you. And then today it's looking different.
Yeah.
Right? So the world is constantly changing. We have wars going on everywhere. There's like just pure chaos. So by being part of society, you have to embrace the chaos. That is something that I can clearly see that from that part of my life where Arctic Ranger and being in Afghanistan that I still miss. Then, of course, being in a range, like I miss shooting. I miss working with and becoming better with a rifle or my pistol. I really miss that aspect, you know, but right now I love having an axe in my hand and chopping firewood, you know, because if I don't, we will fucking freeze at night, you know, like that is a new tool, and that aligns me with the Viking paganism, my lifestyle, how people live still around the world. Firewood, we need to chop it for food, for heat, whatever it might be. It's just shifting. Does that make any sense? I'm not sure if I made any sense there.
No, you did. Thank you. What I think from interviewing so many people, purpose and identity, I think your identity comes from your purpose. So our purpose, obviously, in the military was X. A purpose of a sportsman or sportswoman is X, but their identity is linked to that. So from what you're saying, your purpose, I think, would form your identity, and you're just doing different activities to turn those dials to get that excitement, to get that chaos and so on. But yeah, I noticed so many people that are having trouble with the transition out of those worlds they lack the purpose. And what you said was great. Okay, your purpose could be go skydiving. I love the last one, which is your purpose is to chop wood. Great. I'm going to get really good at that. Let's look at that little thing, that little win, which is a massive win, really. Mentally, you're different than you were before you started chopping wood. And I think that's really important to acknowledge. But I think that purpose is driven first, rather than trying to change the identity and that people are trying to transition out of that. I think they've got it backwards.
Yeah, I agree with you. I find only to compare with the current situation that my wife and I are in, like we travel very much. We just came back from, 3 months in Europe, and it was just about that. The village that we have, bought the house in needs firewood. Otherwise, it's going to be cold at night, Okay, how do we go about doing that? Well, you have to talk to this guy. Well, he doesn't speak any English. You have to learn Italian. Okay, all of a sudden that became our fucking purpose.
Yeah.
How can we communicate with the guy so that we can get heat in our house? How can we learn Italian enough so that we're able to communicate with the village so that they have an understanding that we have actually moved here, that we're not visitors here, that this is our house and this is our territory, and we're here to not participate, but take over the whole fucking village like the Vikings did. No, I'm kidding.
and really, I mean, I was thinking about these fancy words. One of the fancy words for that is mindfulness. I mean, why would you have to go and practice mindfulness when you need to learn Italian to tell that guy what the hell is going on?
Exactly. You're right. You're right.
Well,
I think that one of the greatest things that I want to leave this great conversation with is that I think and this comes from my wife, and I have really started to understand what she had been trying to get into my head. That's another thing with my wife and myself. I think that I can do everything so fucking good, and I don't need anybody's help. I know it all. This have not changed since I was very young. And then she just puts seeds. She plants seeds here and there. And then all of a sudden I come up with this great idea, I think. And she is like, remember that seed that I planted 1.6 years ago? And you were like, nah, that's not going to work. And then all of a sudden you're now saying that that's your idea. It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
So what I was going to say.
That's the synergy, though, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is. But what I was going to say with that is that I think it all comes down to awareness. The more aware you are about this moment right now, this moment where you and I, if we expand on this moment, you and I, you are sitting in New Zealand. I am sitting in Miami. We're having a dialogue that we're going to offer our two audiences around the world that can potentially do great things for other people. I am feeling right now so excited. I'm feeling a little bit hungry. I'm looking at this beautiful room at this hotel that we're staying at. Like, the more aware you are, all of a sudden we are expanding this little tiny moment to really have a greater meaning. Imagine if you had that awareness throughout your entire day. With all of these moments, I feel like that by the time I reach 50, I would be done with life. I cannot continue living this way. I mean, there's so much life that I have already lived. I have lived in so many moments. It's enough already. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the more aware you are, instead of like, oh, I'm looking forward to when summer comes back. I look forward when it gets a little bit warmer. When I have 100,000 followers on Instagram, then my life is going to be complete. Then, like what? Oh my God. It's like the future. Do you have you forgot that you weren't able to travel? You weren't able to travel a few years back. You were unable to travel because of COVID. And here you were complaining about planning a trip. Like, I hope this trip, no. Tomorrow is not fucking guaranteed. As cliche as it might sound, it is not guaranteed.
You're one of the most impactful sort of guests I've had, Richard, and you just keep on hammering down on that live in the now, celebrate right now and be better, which is so inspiring. And I'm actually honored to have connected with you. And further to that, it's straight from your communication style. We connected through Ken Storms. I saw your communication style in your videos, and that came through straight away. So clearly, what you're doing works.
Thank
I'm
you.
absolutely honored to bring your story and share it with people. So thank you so much. We do the show notes introduction at the start, so there's everything there. But for now, I know you said don't go to the site, but where do people find you?
We are on all social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. We are The Savage Army.
Love it.
The Savage Army, and that will cover everything. I don't have any cool bio. I don't have a title. I'm a piece of shit 90% of the time. 10% of the time, I'm actually doing good things for myself, for my wife and my family unit, and for other people. But 90% of the time, I'm not so fucking nice, you know?
We only show the little partner. Mate, this has been absolutely brilliant. You're so authentic and impactful. Like I said, I got a bunch of great show notes here, and we're going to put some cool stuff out there to the world and allow them the opportunity to make themselves better humans, I think.
Yes, and I am so grateful for this opportunity, and I will do my very, very best to continue this dialogue together with you and be there for whoever finds value from this conversation that you and I have had today.
I love that. Thank you so much for coming on. I'll hit pause. We'll have a chat. It's been absolutely an honor.
Thank you.
Hi, thanks for watching. I'm Damien Porter, former Special Forces operator, and check out my new project for 2023 at hownottodie.com.au, where I've combined all my Special Forces training and police officer experience to help others. Thanks for watching.